So, welcome back to Straight No Chaser, episode 9. I'm here with my hosts, Jake Nielsen and Abhi Patel. We got a special guest today, Georgia Yayan. So today's episode is going to be very interesting. We're going to interview George. We're going to talk a bit about his career and his personal life, as well as a lot of the activism he's been part of. And also, Abi and Jake are going to bring some interesting topics to the table, and me as well, like we usually do. So to start off, George, how's it going? George goes to Suffolk with us and Boston for everyone else who doesn't know, and he's an international relations major, and he's been a part of student government at Suffolk University since his freshman year. He was a senator, right, and then treasurer.
Yeah,
Is
my
that how?
freshman year, I was a senator for a class of 22 alongside Ubby and a few other people. And then I ran to be the treasurer for next year, for the year after what was last year. And it was actually interesting because I thought it was going to be like the other races. It was going to be like, a few people running against each other. And going into it, I thought, okay, I'm a freshman. Chances are this might be a bit difficult, but all of my opponents dropped out. So I don't like. I haven't really brought it up a lot, but I kind of coasted into the position. Not saying I wasn't ready though. I think I did a good job.
You did. I think
Yeah,
so anyway.
it was
Thank you.
after being a part of like finance committee, it's just like nothing else in student government wields that kind of power besides treasurer and finance committee.
hmm
Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
lot of fun.
I mean,
I was gonna say, could you talk a little bit about like your experience as being part of student government and that role of leadership that you took up?
yeah. So, you know, I think going into your freshman year, first week, 2 weeks of school, there's gonna be kids that are thinking like, oh, this is like up my alley in terms of what I want to do. I want to run, get to know people, run my campaign, make a difference in the school, right? There's a lot of people that, come in like that, but I think it takes real, like, professional commitment to actually make it because, um, I don't know if you remember, but we went into the race with 54 other people.
Yeah, I know, it's wild.
Yeah, and it was 54 other people, and the cap is 9 for our grade. I think it varies depending on the, number of students of each grade, but um that was the final number. But before that, there were like, I think about maybe 70, 80 kids that were expressing interest in going around talking about it, and slowly and surely you saw that like the kids that didn't put in the same amount of like work um kind of either gave up or they didn't win.
Yeah,
So, I
I think
think
another big thing is a lot of people tried to give off like some sense of like politician bravado. Like
oh
student government isn't like that. Like you don't fucking wear suits and pretend to be professional in college student government. When you're trying to get elected, people want to vote for you because you're genuine, because they see you as like someone that's like working hard alongside them. Like,
exactly.
Speaking from experience of like losing a senatorial election like in freshman year, I think the biggest thing that was an advantage for the people who actually won the position was going to meet with people face to face. Like I feel like more so than the flyers, knowing someone and like actually introducing yourself secures a vote way better than any fucking
yeah,
poster on a wall can.
exactly.
It's just a fact.
Though, maybe in a traditional sense, yes, but I think with our generation, future generations, I think like it's crazy to say, but I think as a freshman, honestly, like social media won me my spot.
Yeah, I didn't
Well,
Like
use
I
social
hit up a ton
media
of people,
either
I
actually.
hit up a ton of people on, you know, social media. I was like, hey, I made this like e-flyer, when to vote, why you should vote for me, my contact, etc., etc.
It's a really
Go
good idea
share
actually.
it. And people did it and it spread, and I think my name just like got around enough
Yeah.
because like like, yeah, obviously there's a value, and there's, like you said, Abby, like something good that comes out of a genuine person that's meeting other people. But unfortunately, I think with our generation, it's actually like that like genuine feeling is starting to like not be as important as
Well,
clout.
I think,
If that makes sense.
yeah,
That
because
concerns me.
I think with
Oh
you,
yeah,
you
it's
were
absolutely.
you were the only commuter student that got one of the 9 seats, right?
Yeah, at the time, yeah,
Yeah,
I was the one commuter,
because
and so I mean, yeah,
so
like
for
I
you,
had
your
to
campaign had to be run different, right? Like,
exact.
for me, I think most of my votes, I would meet people face to face and ask for snaps, so that way I could text them when voting came out. Because
Yeah,
people aren't
definitely.
gonna do it if you remind them way ahead of time. They do it like right there and then, like here, it's available. You know?
Right, and
Do
I
this
think people
thing.
Yeah.
This
definitely had it
thing.
And
easier.
they just
They
did it.
definitely had it easier.
I didn't
I
expect
think people,
them to.
It's like you
yeah,
have to
I
carry around like a ball of saran wrap.
Yeah.
Like, come over here.
That's funny.
I got
No,
you a
I
dollar.
think people that came, like, I think out of the people that won, right? Like you said, I was the one commuter student. Obviously, I'm not trying to toot my horn, but I do think it was like more difficult for me because like, you know, if you look at like the actual physical posters, like okay, everyone can share on social media, right?
Yeah,
But when you're living on a dorm, you have access to posts
it's way
on the
easier.
floors,
Yeah.
right? So not only will people physically be seeing that, but when you live in the dorm, you're going to be meeting people more. You're going to be getting social media more. And so, you know, I think it took a lot of like, and for, I am not discouraging commuters from running. Go run if you feel like you want to make a difference, because you can make a difference, you know?
Yeah,
Like, go run, but you got to be a little crafty and a bit more strategic because it's not just like, hey, like 100 to 200 people I now live with for the entire year, go share my stuff. You know, like you're not going to be living with these people. You're not going to be seeing them whether you like it or not. Like it's all voluntary when you're a commuter because like I could have just gone home,
yeah,
you know, and not talk to anyone. But yeah, like I think it's definitely if you're taking an extra step to get to school, right? If you're not just living there, if you're coming to school, you're a commuter, you live far away, things like that, and you're looking to have a presence on campus, like it is going to be harder, but I think it's going to be more worth it.
yeah. Oh, for sure. Honestly, because like we made tons of connections through student government. Like
Oh yeah.
a lot of the people at college that I hang out with now, I never would have met without it. So that's probably the most like grateful I am for like that experience.
Definitely.
I felt like dropping out just because like I feel like my networking opportunities in student government have kind of maxed out. And when I originally ran, I ran on three things like lighting, energy conservation, installing water bottles in dorms or water bottle filling, and better food. Better food got nixed right away in like the first week. But the other
I think
two
that's
happened
a
this
university
year.
thing.
So
Yeah.
That's a university
yeah.
thing. They're
There's-
like very reluctant.
That's
Yeah.
one thing about student government. If your school decides it's not happening, like it's never happening. So
Well,
you can't let that really bog you down from going for other benefits.
well, yes and no. Yes and no. Because I think there's actually a spectrum of misunderstanding when it comes to student government. I think there's people that think you can do nothing and it's just like show up, dress nice, and say like some nonsense that's not gonna happen. And
Yeah.
I think the other end,
That's
There are a
the
few
problem.
people like that actually.
well, unfortunately, but that is a
don't
misconception
wanna call
of student
people out,
government
but
because you can actually do things.
We know.
Oh yeah.
The problem
yeah,
with the
hey,
American
hey,
government.
They know,
is not
they
just student
know.
No
government.
names. We're
No.
all
You're
thinking
all
of
thinking
somebody.
of the same people, I know, but
Cancel names. We'll
no
get
drama
canceled.
now.
Yeah.
But
Not
yeah,
on this
on
show.
the other end, I think there's a lot of people that go into it thinking they can do anything. We think of people like that as well.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, the same people. And then,
There's a lot of
you know,
overlap.
yeah, there's a lot of overlap between, you know, misunderstanding your role. But I think the reality when you come to the like, if you're on one end of not understanding what you're doing, you're on the other end of like, oh shit, I can do whatever I want or I can't do anything. Right in the middle, there is the informed person, and the informed person will be the most successful person. Because if you go and you write a bill without understanding the rules and the situation and it gets shut down, yeah, you can like, you know, whine about it, but that's on you because you didn't know what you were talking about.
The other BS behind student government is thinking like quantity of resolutions adds up to success. That's not true, because you can write like 10 resolutions and what actually gets acted upon, it could be like 2, right? So
Right.
student
Yeah.
government, if for someone who's like new to college or looking at things they'd want to do at their college, it's like it gives you a platform that like random administrators at your school will now be more willing to meet with you now because you're part of
Exactly.
student government. Like, they might say yes in their emails, but then they'll just like blow you off or be unresponsive. When they see SGA there, they're like, oh shit, I gotta do this now.
Well,
Like,
I think it depends. I think it depends when it comes to like what exactly you're pursuing. Because we did a few things in SGA, last year, right? Let's take for example, having a resolution that said because there's no official language in the United States, you know, we're going. I don't exactly remember what it was centered around, but it had to do with the fact that there's no official language in the United States, so that it's okay to have signs around the school in multiple languages. I think
Yeah.
that is what it was. I don't
wait,
remember.
no, I think it was we don't need an official class language of English. Like, people can speak other languages in
Oh.
class.
Okay, yeah, maybe that was it. It was a
What?
while ago.
I didn't
now.
even get that. Like, what the fuck?
Well,
We all
hear me
speak
out, hear me
English
out.
in class. So, like, there's no class language. What the fuck?
But you do. But you do.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Because there's a lot of international students at our school, for example, that like they'll sit there and they won't say anything,
Yeah.
just like you and I might not, because it's a lecture, right? But when they're going and studying with their friends, they're speaking their native language,
Yeah.
or they're speaking a potential common language. I think like that might have been what it was aimed at. It was just like this. I think the resolution was saying that like that status was unnecessary. I don't know though, but that's one thing. And you saw how receptive the school was with that. You know,
Yeah.
because the school has a reputation to maintain of
So,
being an inclusive,
Suffolk
accepting
was
place.
about to make English like the official language of the classroom. Like, what? It blew my fucking mind when I heard that. Like, what? Like, we speak English in class. Like, people can speak what? Why do we need an official language? Like, what the fuck does that do for anyone?
Well,
Like,
listen, the school
What?
was very receptive when we wrote that resolution because it reflects the image they want to project to people. Is
Yeah.
like we're inclusive, we're accepting. You know, you can speak whatever you want, you can be whoever you want, right? On the other hand, that's one thing. That's when it comes to like promotion and image. On the other hand, let's talk about your resolutions, Abby, the ones where you genuinely wanted to change the food, the water fountains, things like that, and those cost money.
I didn't even write resolutions for those. I just met with the head of facilities. That,
Well,
like,
okay, yeah, but you that was what you were pursuing.
Yeah.
Right? Excuse me, I didn't mean resolution. Like that was your goal that you're pursuing. Those are things that the school would have to be like, okay, time to cash a check, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Some people and pay them.
Yeah.
When it comes to that, you will see that these private institutions, and actually the public ones as well, based on like what I heard, are going to be a lot less receptive. Because, you know, when students want to make a symbolic resolution that won't affect the school's bank account,
School doesn't give a fuck. Yeah.
they'll be like, yeah, sure.
Sure, of
You know,
course.
even if
Yeah.
it's a genuinely good thing, even
Yeah.
if it's a genuinely good thing like that resolution, they'll be like, yeah, whatever.
They're like,
you know?
oh, this costs nothing? Great.
Exactly. I think that's another thing is be mindful of the school administration, because you and them are probably not going to be on the same page about a lot of things. So
Yeah.
it doesn't mean it's not possible, but it means it's an extra hurdle.
That's another
You know-
thing you learn too. Like, they seem like they're on your side, but like, in all actuality, will they actually take steps to do the thing they're agreeing with you on, right? That's like
Like I
you have
said,
to learn how
it's-
to read administrators like that.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, it depends. Like, for example, right? Let's say when I was treasurer, right? If I had an idea, I was, because you, and like you, Abby, and Jake, you were both on my committee. Like, if I was like, hey guys, let's use our, like, student, like, activity budget, like, or our budget that we had to work with for the year to replace those fountains, the school would be like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's so
It'd be like,
true.
definitely, you go make those water fountains better. We need that water, champ.
The thing
You know?
is,
But if
if
we
I
said they
was
need to
being
spend
me,
their money, if we said they need to spend
It
their
takes
money, even though we're
weeks.
paying God knows, even though we're paying God knows to go to this school, if we said, you know what, this activity money you gave us that we're paying for in our tuition, we want to save it for activities. Can you cover this so that everyone can drink water? They're gonna be like, oh well,
Takes
we'll
a
see.
long ass time to get there.
We'll call maintenance and we'll see, like, we'll
Yeah.
get some quotes, things like that. I'll get back to you, you know. And do they get back to you? Not often.
What are you
I'm
gonna say,
convinced
Jake?
everyone would hate me if I was like treasurer of the school, because I would be like, all right, there's gonna be 20 clubs from now on, but we're gonna have sick utilities everywhere around campus. We're gonna have Wi-Fi up the wazoo. We're gonna have water fountains every 20 feet. But all right, a lot of you guys are gonna get cut in the process. College Republicans thrown off campus.
Oh my god, dude.
Same with college
TPA,
Democrats.
dog.
I don't
knew you
like.
were gonna say something. I knew you were
Only
gonna say
college
something.
libertarians. That's the only political group
libertarian.
allowed. Only the
libertarian.
libertarian.
You know what? You know what? Actually, now that I'm like a regular student, I have an idea. If you make this college libertarians, right? There should be like an authoritarian club so that we can clash with them.
That would be so.
There has
facts,
been
that would be
TV
dope.
USA and
Marxist
Marxist students.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marxist and TP USA. What if we
TPUSA
showed up?
and Marxist Club.
What if we like crashed their like little meetings? We like show up as the
Actually,
libertarians.
Alex and I
T-shirts.
wanted to sit in one time, right? But the opportunity never arose because of like class and commuting and stuff. But like, you know, yeah, I disagree with like 99.9% of probably what they had to. I'm not actually gonna say that. I probably would disagree with a lot of what they have to say, right? But I want to hear them say it. You know, I saw the energy they were portraying, the bravado they had on their social media, like, oh yeah, Chairman Mao said this, and by the way, I'm not even joking. They did share a Mao Zedong quote, and he killed 45 million people. Let's not forget about that. But they
Oh, I thought you
shared
meant
quotes.
TP with the Chinese virus. That was also pretty
Well,
controversial.
Let me get to that. Because
Yeah.
I'm, you know, we don't.
Yeah.
I know
We're
our
fair.
friend
We
group-
hate
we don't
authoritarians.
bullshit. Our
We're
friend
Yeah.
group doesn't bullshit. If people
Yeah.
do something wrong, they do something wrong.
Facts.
We had a situation, a political atmosphere on our campus where, on one hand, you had people sharing quotes of like Mao and like Che Guevara and Castro, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we want this here in the U.S." You know, while they're paying for a private, you know, education
for a
on
private
their
college.
iPhones,
that too.
on their iPhones, eating out, you know, things like that, right? And then, and working for private businesses like Dunkin's and stuff, and like Macy's. But on the other hand, you had a group of how do I describe these people? You had a
Far
group
right.
of yeah.
No, they don't want to be called far right. Alt right.
Yeah, you had
Yeah.
a group of students with very conservative beliefs who I will go on record and say their advisor was much more reasonable than them.
They need
no,
to have a good.
They went off the
advisor.
rails with their
Their
own
advisor?
advisor.
Their advisor was my economics professor, and I actually interned for him.
Oh,
Right?
it's
Oh.
And the guy is like pretty conservative, but his entire staff was like liberal on purpose. Like he made sure so that there was a balance.
Yeah.
yeah, that's what
You
I
know?
like about some
And
people.
he was
like,
very
he's
reasonable,
open.
but he's an older gentleman, so I don't think he was actually like aware of what the club was doing until the administration brought it to his attention.
Yeah.
That's when he found out. But like for weeks, I knew he had no idea.
But
you
the
know?
problem I have a lot of the times with the two extreme sides is like I feel like the TPUSA was brought to the club's attention, like the advisor's attention through the administration, but was the Marxist club ever held in check? It's like they both stand for very extremist ideologies, so it's
So-
like to me,
Well, they
George
can't be-
did that,
They
actually.
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
be
yeah.
held
So,
in
guess
check
what?
for their beliefs. They gotta
This
do
is
some
something
crazy
I'm-
shit.
Yeah, but
This
it's
is
for their
something I'm very
posts.
disappointed in. This is something I'm very disappointed in, but in the end, they weren't held in check. Me and Alex went to the office that deals with like these things, and we told them this club is sharing things on their Instagram that are highly controversial for people with backgrounds that may include like you know, being from a country that was under communist rule or got taken over by things like that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Like,
was specifically because they had something about like they quoted Mao, and I was
yeah,
just like,
they
if you
quoted
think the
Mao.
Chinese virus is offensive, quoting Mao.
45 million people. Mao
Yeah.
Zedong, in his rule,
Including protesting students.
Yeah,
exactly
Tiananmen
He
Square.
murdered
Exactly.
fucking
And
students who were
his
protesting.
policy,
Yeah, wasn't
is
it the
still
great-
present today in China, where a million different issues are happening.
Yeah.
You know? And
Yeah, it was a great leap forward.
Yeah,
Jake,
great.
that's
Yeah, that's what I
Great
thought it
leap
was called.
forward,
Wasn't it
yes.
something to do with moving farmers into the city, and there was like a famine that resulted from it, and then 45 million people died as a result of
Well,
that?
that was like
Something along those lines.
collectivization. That was
Not
like
all
the
of
Soviet
that
model.
were because of a famine. A lot of them were because people were like disagreeing with the government or saying
Oh,
don't
and they
like
got
living conditions, and then all of a sudden they disappeared.
They got
Um,
disappeared.
exactly.
yeah.
But,
It's funny how that happens in communist regimes. They just disappear.
Exactly. You know
Like, what happened
happens
to-
in this country? It happens in this country too, I would say sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Snowden
Actually-
almost got disappeared. He fled though. He fled in
It
time.
happens when the authoritarians are in power in this country.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But
Like
anyways,
Snowden,
so
Snowden should be pardoned.
He
Alex
should.
and I-
Abolish the federal government.
Snowden should be pardoned. We should launch a massive internet campaign for that. Why hasn't Snowden been pardoned?
yeah, but that's not gonna happen because he has like dirt on everyone.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Yo, George, finish. Yeah, just finish
Yeah,
up this
so
thought so we can.
we went to the office that deals with this, right? And we said there was a post that is highly offensive and controversial to many people that go to this school, right? That's specifically the wording we used. Afterwards, we said exactly, oh, it's about when they asked, like, oh, what is it, right?
Yeah.
We said, oh, these people shared a quote by Mao Zedong who encourages, and the quote, I don't know if it's still up because I think they deleted their account. They
Yeah.
actually aren't the club anymore because they felt like they weren't able to spread Marxism effectively just being a college club, and they're actually just gonna become a local organization.
Jesus
anyway,
Christ.
yeah,
In
'cause, like,
America, they're gonna
it's
spread
like-
the word of fucking.
Well, no. They're now the Boston Marxist Association.
gonna
Oh my
because, you know,
God.
some like county from the North Shore is gonna listen to them. But yeah. Anyways, we go and we tell them, and you know what they told Alex and I? Oh, but it's their opinion. Guess what was the alt-right people's opinion? Calling it a Chinese virus. That's fucked up, isn't it?
No, what's it
Yeah,
called?
but it's only.
Not only they had a thing saying like Chinese virus, then you swiped right and it was like this guy talking about like biological warfare. I was like,
Yeah,
what?
exactly. So
What?
not only
Where's
are
the
they-
connection
not
here?
Are
Like,
they taking a big global problem and using a people as a scapegoat, right? But they're going a step further and saying that no, this was on purpose.
yeah,
This is
fucking
to attack America.
psychos, dude.
Yeah, I can think of a certain guy a few
Or
decades
no, it was
ago
like the
that
downfall of
scapegoated
America and the
entire
rise of
people.
China. It's like
Well,
the virus
hear me out.
affected every country. Like it got both of them.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
like-
Okay,
Yeah.
and hear me out, right? I can think of a certain guy a few decades ago that used a specific group of people as a scapegoat and said that they were doing things on purpose that was ruining the economy of
Yeah.
their country. You know, I can think of a certain guy that did
and then
that,
he
like-
destroyed their economy as well.
Ronald Reagan. Oh wait.
Oh wait.
No,
There's
not
like
Ronald.
there's like 20 people that fit that profile.
Exactly.
I was about to say, which one are we talking
A
about?
lot. You know what? We'll just leave it at that.
I
But
think
yeah,
the
they
most
told us-
famous one. He was a fan
they
of
told us that's
swastikas.
not a problem.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that
That the
dude.
Mao quote was not a problem because it's their opinion, but something that,
got-
let's be honest, is equally fucked up, right? Something
Yeah.
that's equally fucked up.
Agreed.
No,
that's
that's
why I have
not
a
an
problem with
opinion, that's hate
authoritarians,
speech.
though. Oh,
Yeah,
mean,
well, it's
agreed.
because it's
I
like
think-
it's also because our school. You're gonna
But
have
they
more
don't
people speak
moderate-
out against
The
TPU.
thing is, they
but
don't moderate the extreme sides equally. That's
No.
my
Well,
problem.
in our
That's why I
area-
don't like
in our area,
authoritarians.
The funniest thing about this to me though is like both of those clubs dissipated off of campus. Like both of the
Yeah, they're
radical,
both
on. We get the
like
last
they're
laugh,
both
right?
dissipated within a year.
TPU,
So you know what we come back with? The Libertarian Club of Suffolk
I will be the
University.
first person to join that.
All right.
And
All right, we got to move on. Yeah, just what were you gonna say? Okay, I was just gonna say.
Ask those
Yeah. we got to the mark that we've got to move on. But so now the next thing I was gonna talk about is another thing that kind of shows your like determination and ambitions, as well as like someone who basically wants the success. George is you started boxing your freshman year, and I know it's a sport you've been interested in and into a long time. I know you have a past in wrestling and in karate, but boxing really became like one of your main activities and one of your main like
Right.
yeah, just like basically passions. And you were actually one of the main people also to get me into it because I started a little bit after you, but it really got me into boxing involved more, just like in general. And yeah, I know we both go to Sorabella Training Center in Waltham, so if you could
At
just talk a little
STC
bit.
Boxing on Instagram,
Mhm.
one of the
Yes,
only gyms
yeah,
to have social distancing policy if you want to get a workout in.
and
Oh,
clean
that's
their
cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, talk a little bit about your love for boxing and just like how it's kind of shaped you this past like you've been doing it for 2 years now.
Yeah, I've been
Yeah,
doing it for 2 years. Yeah.
yeah,
So basically, like, I'll preface this by saying, like, much to the discomfort of my mom, I've always been into these type of sports. You know, it's not necessarily like I actually hate violence. Like, I think, like, when I see like street fights on the internet, shit like that, or if I see it on person, like I actually get like concerned, worried. Like I don't want to watch it. I don't like violence. That being said, I think there's a severe line between violence and between a competitive sport that involves contact. That has always been a thing I appreciated. Like I remember when I was very young, I'd see these like Bruce Lee, Jet Li movies, like Jackie Chan, all of these
I
stuff,
love
all
kung
of these
fu
guys,
movies.
on the like TV, and I'd be like, oh, I want to be like that. So I'd beg my parents, like, mom, can I please do karate? And my mom is worried because I'm, only child, immigrant, like she doesn't want anything to happen to me. I understand, but like eventually she gave in. So I started doing karate when I was like 5-ish, and then when I was 8, that was when it was gonna be very serious, and so I went to a state competition, and I got 2 gold medals. One for form, like you have to demonstrate like a sequence of techniques. Um, and then another one was like a like contact competition. Like you would be like facing another kid, and whoever that other 8-year-old was at the time, I'm sorry I dropped you. That was not my intention.
Oh yeah,
But
it's like 2 points for the head and 1 point for the body, kind of thing, right?
yeah, I mean, I think like the youth version is different, but I remember that was a stoppage because the kid like didn't want it anymore, and the ref stepped in, and like his mom was crying and stuff. So, but it was, yeah, it was whatever. Yeah, so I was like, that was a big confidence booster for me. And then during training, right, I started getting more and more confident, and I started getting better. So like now I'm 9 years old, right? I'm training with 13, 14-year olds, and it's making me better. And then this one 14-year-old, right? We're training, sparring, and he kicks me in the head, and I get a concussion. So I have to stop karate for like months because I'm young. Like these are like formative years. It's very important you take your time when you get a injury like that. And so the concussion took a while, and I got like kind of out of shape. So due to like my youth and like lack of like maturity and wanting like to improve my life, because when you're that young, like a lot of what you do is like based on like what your parents want for you. Like I just didn't go back into it, and so I was just like playing like soccer for like a town team. Like I did like little leagues, like I did like baseball, stuff like that. Freshman year, I do wrestling because the coach is this like Armenian Russian guy that was like in the Soviet special forces, so he's like a legit wrestler.
Jesus
Like, he knows, like,
Christ.
yeah, he's like a legit, like he'd always demonstrate a move, and then he'd be like, if you move their neck back more, they die. I'm like, bro, get off me. Don't do this to me. And so I wrestled freshman year, but I had to quit because I got concussed again. great, like pattern. So I just ended up playing rugby and track like in high school. That was basically what I did. But it wasn't like it was never serious for me. Like either of those things. Like I knew I had like a talent, but I just didn't have the drive. And so like I actually the summer before my freshman year, I was like 230. I was like 230, 235 pounds, something like that. And I just wasn't having it because like I was like going into college and I just kind of realized like what am I doing with my life? Like I have like no self-control. Like I kind of just am like coasting. So I was like, you know what? One way or another, I'm gonna find something that disciplines me again, like I used to be when I was like good at karate. And so I found this boxing gym a few minutes from my house, right? I went there and like the first day I was like, oh, I need to do this. And so I just started boxing. I lost like 50 pounds. Alex became like one of my closest friends, and I was like, hey, you want to come down one time? He said, yeah. Then that kid Nick actually wanted to as well. Not our Nick, but like a Nick from your town, yeah. He wanted to as well, and we just never did that because he's kind of... Yeah,
Alright.
but...
Not naming names on this show.
Yeah, it's whatever. There's like 15 Nicks. But,
We're not salty.
yeah, and so... Yeah, it's just been a really positive impact for my life. I actually recommend that everyone at least tries like boxing, kickboxing, MMA. You don't have to get in the ring and hit someone, but for the workout, because it is like it forces you to be disciplined. Like you can't joke around like when it comes to that stuff. Like you're either putting in 100% or you're putting in 0. You can tell yourself, "Oh, I'm putting in like 50% now. I'll turn it up." Like, but you're not,
Exactly.
And so, yeah, it was a very positive impact on my life. It boosted my confidence. It, made me feel like I wasn't like that one chubby kid in my friend group of like athletes, I was like, I can hang with like anyone now. Like, obviously that's not the case, but because there's always someone stronger, it's a confidence booster, like when you box, like the feeling is indescribable. Like you feel like you're on top of the world, really. And so, yeah, I mean,
Oh yeah, if there's any one of my friend I can bring to a bar knowing that I'm going home safe that night, it's George. It's 100% George.
For sure.
bro, I don't know if I'm going home safe if we nah.
Oh no, I just know that if we're traveling in a group and we're with you, no one's fucking with us.
Maybe.
Yeah, some of those Insta
Or not
clips,
for
I'm like,
long.
shit, I would not want to be on the receiving end of that.
That's what I'm saying.
Damn, guys, this is getting hot in here or what? Like, I don't know. Shit. Nah.
But
Yeah.
actually, I
let's-
found this YouTube, these like YouTube clicks you'd probably really be into. But so like GQ has these series called Breakdown, and
I love those. I
yeah,
love
they
those.
have like UFC fighters come in and like look at martial arts movies and be like what's realistic and what's not. And they reveal a lot about like what got them into martial arts and stuff too.
Yeah.
So they have stuff for like fighter pilots. They had this fighter pilot talk about Dunkirk, if you guys have seen that. But yeah, it's a cool ass series. I just got into it like yesterday.
No, I remember watching it like a while back. I never watched any of them, and it wasn't in any, particular order.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's really interesting, and like I think the cool thing about a series like that GQ like is doing, is that it's for anyone and it can get anyone into anything.
Yeah.
It's like when you watch, let's say they're doing like
Well,
one
they
about
had
video
Stephen Thompson come on for the martial
Stephen
arts
Thompson,
breakdown.
yeah,
That was a
he-
really good video.
That guy's crazy, but he's
Yeah.
awesome, and he's so nice. It's like ridiculous.
I haven't
he,
actually seen him fight.
He is like he's a karate guy, so he does like
Yeah.
freaky like acrobatic kicks, right, and shit.
Yeah.
And so he like really badly knocks people out, but like outside of that, he's like the nicest guy ever. Like he has a YouTube channel, like it's crazy.
Yeah.
He's a really cool guy from what I've heard. But yeah, like the cool thing about a thing like GQ series is like, let's say they're doing one about like video games, right? Is like, oh, is this video game like concept realistic? They'll bring a guy in, someone's gonna be like, someone watching is gonna say like, oh, this is interesting. Let me watch the new one, and then they'll watch the boxing one, and they'll start thinking like, hey, this looks cool. Maybe I should try it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
I
it's
think-
pretty great. It's a great
Yeah.
series. Highly
It's a
recommend.
good model, for sure.
Yeah. All right, so then I was gonna say that was really interesting. Like, and I hope, yeah, I wish you good luck with your boxing career.
I wish you
But,
good luck too, man. We sparred one time, and this kid actually, you have heavy fucking hands. Like I will
Yeah.
put that on record. Alex
From the long
Svensson
arm.
What does that
hits like a
mean?
truck.
He's got
I
that
will put
arm
this on
reach.
record. I will put this on record. Alex Svensson hits like a truck. Like
I want a shirt that says Alex has heavy hands on it.
I'll make you one of those.
I'll make it.
But yeah, so moving on to the next topic. So yeah, you've talked about your passion for being a leader and for your passion for getting involved in politics and legislation, as well as how you've had this drive to stay disciplined and to stay in shape with boxing, and how it's made you feel like a better person. But one thing I'd like also you to talk about a little bit is kind of the background to this and the backstory. So I know you're of Armenian descent. Your parents are both Armenian, and you were born in Lebanon, in Beirut, as part of the Armenian community there. And you moved here when you were how old?
I was 4 when I moved here, but we it wasn't like definitive until I was like 6 or 7.
Okay. So yeah, just talk to me a little bit about kind of your background and specifically like what it means to you, and as well as the situation currently and maybe a little bit historically, if you want to go into it with Armenia, and like for example why you're born in Lebanon, and kind of how your family's history in Armenia and its relations with its neighboring countries, perhaps.
For sure. That was really adequately put, by the way.
Yeah, that was a really good intro.
Yeah, like
What
but
transition?
so I would love to talk about it because, you know, I'm actually very vocal about this. I think a lot of Armenians are, is like, Americans seem to pick and choose their problems and their conflicts, you know? Like, I think all conflicts should be taken seriously across the world, all issues, you know, like, let's take the, like, I won't talk on this much because I want to answer your question, but, like, let's take the famine in Yemen, right? Very bad, obviously. You saw how the internet, like social, yeah, the problem in Yemen, right? You saw how American social media was really blowing up over it. Like they were sharing things, they were changing their Instagram profile pictures to like a color for these issues, right? And yes, these issues are historically rooted, but they are kind of like emerging now, and you're seeing a very spontaneous reaction, right? So what I ask is, when there has been something that has been just that severe happening to my people for the past basically few hundred years, right? Why is it no one cares? And I think the answer to that is that it's become normalized.
Oh
People
yeah,
don't
for
care
sure.
what happens to Armenians. People don't care what has happened to Armenians. You know? They'll see me and they'll be like, oh, like, you're Armenian. Yeah, Kim Kardashian, Dan Bilzerian. You know? Like,
Alex,
they
this
don't...
is so
To
funny.
me, though, that's the biggest problem. Is it's almost like picking and choosing what countries they care about broadly.
Well, I
and
think
that's a huge problem to me.
I think it's more like we've kind of lost a sense of what true advocacy is, because it takes a lot of sacrifice to be a real advocate, whereas now a lot of people who think of themselves as advocates just see something awful and they're like, oh my god, I have to post about this, and then it's all over. It's like, you're not an
Oh my God,
advocate. Like,
That's
It's
the worst.
literally-
No
I'll
donation.
tell you,
no
You hit the
donation,
nail on
no
the head.
time.
yeah.
No
Exactly.
time.
Yes,
Fucking the
exactly.
worst.
Just
So it's
social
like-
media activists, not real
Like,
activists.
I don't consider myself an activist, but I
Virtue.
stay informed. I try to stay informed on just what's going on.
And you're already doing way more
BBC
than these Twitter thugs.
BBC
these
is a
social
great
media
place to
activists.
do that. British Broadcasting
tell you
Channel,
something.
some of the best global news you'll find out there.
For sure, but let me tell you something, right? I'll tell you this. I don't think a lot of you know. I talked about it with you, Alex. there were protests going on in Boston a few weeks ago about a problem that is going on at the Armenian border with our neighbor Azerbaijan. Essentially, they have been constantly aggressive since both countries, us and them, broke off from the Soviet Union. They claim that a certain province, a region, is their integral land. Now, all I have to say to that is when there is like physical evidence, like churches, fortresses, gravestones, monuments, all of these things dating to the 5th century BC that prove that Armenians are there. It has our language on it. It has, the bones they find in the ground.
Also, everyone who lives there is literally
Exactly.
Your
Armenian.
mic.
And everyone who
Mike.
lives there is
Mike.
Armenian, right? Because Joseph Stalin, another hero of the Marxist student organization, is from what I've heard,
That was fucking
because
hilarious.
Joseph Stalin gifted Azerbaijan as a region, that area in the 1920s, that makes it their historical land? I think not. And so the whole conflict that is happening is because they're trying to take it. They're trying to take it because of a decree that was given by a country that no longer exists. So this conflict is happening, right? We are protesting. The Armenian community is protesting all over the country. I'll tell you what has happened in the United States, not overseas, here. In Philadelphia, an Armenian woman and her child were assaulted. Armenians in Los Angeles and in Toronto, which yes is in Canada but is still close, were beaten up and left on the ground bleeding. In DC, a girl that I know was sexually harassed. In Boston, people were going around looking for Armenian homes to break into. In Boston, the city we all live in, or the area we all live in. And my question is, all of these, like supposed activists that like we know from school or from like our towns or wherever we may know them from, or the people we don't even know that are the same, right? This shit is happening in your country and you don't care. Like you are all my friends, right? So I know you guys care, but for the people that, advocate for various groups on the internet but would never do it in real life, right? Because of these tensions that are happening, my life and the life of other Armenians were genuinely put into jeopardy in this country and all over the world. Here was okay. That was what I just described was fine. In Russia, they were burning Armenian stores to the ground. And in Ukraine, they did that. In Germany, they destroyed the embassy car.
Is this mostly like foreign Azerbaijanis doing this, or is this just like random groups?
So it tends to be people who are coming from Azerbaijan in the past few years.
Okay.
And I saw, like, just based on, like, someone did, like, a collection of the police reports, right? And by the way, let me preface this by saying that in no way is this an attack on their people. I know not all people from a group are representative of the actions of extremists or their government. They're fascist government, actually. But yeah, like, they tend to be military-age men that migrated from Azerbaijan to other countries after their service.
The other thing I wanted to mention is like my problem with the whole, like you said, people not advocating properly on social media is they don't really know the moderates in a region. Like a lot of the times they go with a general ideal, which is like there's Islamophobia and like we have to support all these Arab nations regardless of governmental actions. Not saying that people are bad, but like you said, governments can tend to be really like negative and nationalistic.
Very specifically in when you look at the actual conflict between like geographically Azerbaijan and Armenia, it seems like the leaders of both governments are doing nothing to calm tensions and find a way to peace. Like each side just escalates one after the other.
That's where I disagree though, because it doesn't seem like Armenia actually wants conflict. It seems like Azerbaijan is like literally threatening to bomb them in certain areas.
this is what's basically the situation. Since our country was founded, right, officially, obviously we've been a civilization for much longer, but in 1991, when we gained independence from the Soviet Union, the war, there was a ceasefire between our countries in 1994. Since then, Armenia has been advocating for peace talks that involve Armenia, Azerbaijan, and the people of the disputed region. Artsakh is what it's called.
Okay.
Right? The Azeri government every time has said no, because there are no people of Artsakh. That's not their land or your land. That's our land.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Armenia always brings peace as an option to the table. Azerbaijan says there is no peace unless we take that land.
Sounds
And
like
you see the
China.
problem here.
It's literally
Yeah.
China
It
with that
literally is
information.
like that. And so this is the issue. Is like, let's say that were to happen, right? What happens to the tens, hundreds of thousands of people that are currently living in that region?
Oh, they're gonna be kicked out. They're gonna be.
They're going to be refugees or they're going to be killed.
Yeah.
The last
Yeah,
time,
you'll get a pogrom.
exactly, when this issue kicked off in the late 80s, hundreds of thousands of Armenians evacuated their homes in Azerbaijan and became refugees and went to Armenia because they were getting killed. Now, I will go on record for the sake of fairness and say a lot of Azerbaijanis left Armenia as well, but the difference between the two is that they left, but they left just like Armenians left Azerbaijan, but Armenians left Azerbaijan because they were getting killed. Azerbaijanis left Armenia because they tended to live in what would become the war zone. Because obviously no one wants to live where there's like an active war.
No, just look at Syria and Yemen.
Exactly.
No one wants to live there.
That's the primary difference. But yeah, so like, I think the big thing that like, I think Americans and a lot of people around the world don't realize that realistically, like, my people have never really caught a break for the past few hundred years. Like you said, like, you wanted me to talk about why I was born in Lebanon, right? I was born in Lebanon because my great-grandparents and my great-great-grandparents were refugees from the Armenian genocide. My family, hundreds of thousands of other families, we have our homes in what is now Turkey. Our families built those homes hundreds of years ago, and we lived there until 100 years ago. And now there's other people living in your homes. So now I'll give this example to you, right? Let's say your house, the one you're in right now, right? Do you have any idea of like how old it is?
Oh,
Like,
it's new.
approximately?
It's only
From
20 years old.
1928. Nah, mine's from
Something like-
1928 down here. No,
1928. Interesting. Mine's
Yeah.
1983 or 84.
So okay, for the sake of this, right? Let's take Alex's house. It was built in 1928, right? Let's say you get married and you start a family in this house that you're living in, right? And then your kids do that as well. So your family is living in this house
2 generations,
like
right? Or 3.
more.
Well, yeah, it's
Wait.
the
More,
point.
yeah, way more.
The point you're trying to make, I feel like, in terms of like New England of America, it's not gonna resonate as much, you know, because America is
Right, 'cause none
relatively
of
a
us-
new country. Like
Yeah,
we don't have thousands of years
Sure.
of history as a country.
Sure, that's true.
Right,
That's true.
so,
So I mean, but let's say for the sake of this example, we do. Okay?
Yeah,
So
Because-
let's say you built this house is built in
like it's
1920.
it's a
Let's say
it's
your
a
family-
legacy for your family.
Exactly. Now, you get kicked out. Your family, at least. I don't know according to this how old you're. Your family gets kicked out of this house that you're in generations from now, right? And a new family moved in. Your records, everything that you built the house, you own the house, burned. New ones are made that say you never lived there to begin with.
Yeah, that's absolutely criminal,
Yeah,
especially
it's ethnic cleansing.
yeah.
But
Exact-
that's what governments do. Like, I feel like that's why governments in their entirety are so bad. Is like the fact that they didn't keep former records just shows that they're like a nationalistic
Well,
totalitarian state.
they look
Yeah.
to find and destroy those records. Like a lot of
Yeah.
governments are like that.
That's what I'm saying.
This is the thing. Armenians and Armenia always try to advocate for recognition of the Armenian genocide, and more than any other country, the country we want to recognize it is Turkey. The one we want to recognize is Turkey. Now, you know what Turkey does? The country of Turkey.
Yeah.
They say, okay, if you're saying you lived here and you're natives and all that, let's look at the Ottoman records, because this land was part of the Ottoman Empire that you say you lived in. Let's look at the Ottoman records. The Ottoman records that say you never lived here. Now, of course, they're going to say that because the parts where they said that you did, they burned and destroyed.
I
And
thought
they're
you were
saying,
gonna.
oh, look, they're
I thought you were gonna talk about Turkey being like, oh, that never happened, but like they deserved it. Like what?
Well,
What?
that's
I
a
don't
much
think.
more of a sentiment issue. That's a much more of a sentiment issue. But the
Yeah.
policy is, oh, it didn't happen. But yeah, Armenians did die, but not as many as you said. But also Turks died.
Yeah, they say it was like on a war. They say because Armenia was collaborating with like Greece and Russia that they were like kind of on a war with Turkey.
Which
But
is not the case.
in
We were
reality, yeah.
collaborating with ourselves because we wanted independence. Now,
Yeah, but even if they were, that doesn't constitute
it does
because they
not
were on the same
avoid-
side, but still, it doesn't constitute you going to civilian homes within the country and killing them and marching their people
Exactly.
Yeah,
away.
it's
You know what?
absolutely
You know what I have a
insane.
problem though on a broad scale is like not just the United States, it's many countries, but our foreign policy it reflects resource skirmishes. Like we side a lot of the time with Turkey in the region because they have more major resources.
Yeah.
No, it's
But
because we
like-
have an American
But like,
Air
there's
Force.
no, there's yeah, that's true too. But
They
there's
also
no moral
Turkey
compass
also
to
has
foreign
water
policy.
flowing through it,
Like,
right? Like
if
a
the US
major
had a-
body of water.
If
More
the
part of
U.S.
it,
had
yeah.
They have the
good
Mediterranean.
foreign policy, they'd probably side mostly with like Lebanon, Armenia, and then like the Kurdish troops in Syria or maybe Assad. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't be like this major like resource skirmish to just find the countries with oil and back them.
Well,
This
it's
is
a
This is
lot.
the thing, though, is it doesn't have to do with oil. It doesn't have to do with oil or really resources. The entire
I think it
issue.
does.
Well, I mean,
It does a
my
little.
situation.
Well, geographically, there's a lot of power in trade when you have accessible ports in Turkey too.
Right. But more than anything, with the issues that Armenia is facing, yeah, each country has their respective resources. True, there's regional, there's geographic issues, but more than anything, the issue is that Armenians are native to our lands, and our lands are not just what Armenia is currently, but it's also eastern Turkey, eastern Anatolia, and also the disputed region with Azerbaijan. But the problem is we're not living there anymore for obvious reasons. We got removed. And the whole issue is that Turkey and Azerbaijan look for any opportunity to say that they are the rightful owners of that area.
It seems like what's kind of happening to Armenians is like basically what happened to Native Americans, like just
Yes.
everything just being destroyed and like nothing is really happening to prevent it.
Exactly. And with the Native Americans, I think this perception that American textbooks and American media and everything try to portray them of being like less than Europeans and things like that, right?
Oh yeah.
We know for a fact that that's not true. They had, various things that Europeans didn't have. But the thing is, it's convenient for the settlers
Yeah.
because
tells a good
they
story.
just be like, oh, what difference does it make anyways?
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of different with what happened with like Armenia. It's very similar, but the difference is that the signs of our civilization are still standing,
Yeah.
and
You guys have
openly
actual
destroying-
architecture like that
Yeah.
can't go away.
openly destroying it would basically prove what they're doing.
Yeah.
So they leave it there. They say, okay, UNESCO heritage site, Turkish heritage site, things like that. But they'll never explicitly say it's Armenian.
I have a question, George.
Yes.
So if Azerbaijan escalated into an actual armed conflict and tried
It
to
is an armed
invade,
conflict.
okay, well, if they tried to invade the territory that's disputed and Armenia decided to fight back, would Turkey then try to escalate the fight or try and back Azerbaijan? What would happen if a
So-
conflict was like to arise to a degree
That
where
did
there was a
happen.
war?
That did happen actually. So hold on, I had the date here, but July 12th, I believe, was when this most recent conflict started. Let's see. Just pull it up. Yes. So July 12th, this most recent escalation started. Essentially, um, this was a little weird because it wasn't over the disputed region. It was actually like an attack on like Armenia, like on our integral land, our internationally recognized sovereign land, in northeastern Armenia. So the first attack was there, and it escalated all across the border that we have with them. And so but basically what happened is, um, they attacked, they got repelled the first time, so they attacked even heavier, got repelled again, and then Turkey decided to say Armenia needs to stop attacking Azerbaijan. We're going to help our brother country, and they sent them military personnel. They sent them equipment. They sent them a lot, and actually, through Turkey, like as in geographically through Turkey into Azerbaijan, Armenian forces reported about 20 or so ISIS fighters fighting
Jesus.
against it. Yeah, so if we're talking about like essentially the standard of morality between the two governments, right?
Makes it pretty clear.
Who is fighting for Armenia, right? Who is fighting for Armenia? This
Just
farmer
Armenians.
who lives on the border.
Yeah.
This farmer who lives on the border, who it's his house that's getting bombed. It's his like family that's in danger, you know? Who is fighting for them? Anyone but their equivalent of that.
Yeah.
Yep, agreed.
And I was actually gonna say,
point.
Jake, with your thing too, with your question about if the U.S. like why don't they do something about it and why don't they get involved? It's like it's not only like about like resources in this case. It's actually also because Turkey's considered our ally since the Cold War because when the Russians put missiles in Cuba, that was
We had
like
to
I
put
believe that.
missiles in Turkey, right?
Well, I think
Yeah.
actually that was in response to us putting missiles in Turkey because Turkey joined NATO back then and we set up missiles facing Russia from there. So they put them in Cuba and that's how that whole escalation started. And also, Armenia isn't part of many major treaties, so they're not in the EU or NATO. Their main allies culturally are Greece and Cyprus because the people have a lot of shared history and they also like they haven't sent soldiers, I believe, only like supplies. And then they also militarily, their main ally is Russia because Russia has a base in Armenia, and also some of the people have maintained good relations since the fall of the USSR. So the U.S. siding with Armenia would also mean we'd have to work together with the Russians, and that would cause even more of an issue. But with
But aren't the
Turkey,
Russians also friends with the Turkish in the region?
not
as well?
anymore
Or-
because of the Syrian war. They
And
were,
not,
but
not
then
Yeah,
just the Syrian,
yeah.
not just the Syrian war. There was this big controversy actually where there was this thing like the Red Army Choir. It's like I think it's called the Alexandrov Choir. Essentially, it was a tradition that started from the Soviet days where like the best singers in the military would come together and form like an official like army choir, right? Just like we have in the US. There was a Soviet equivalent. Because it was so loved by many people, right? They ended up turning it from the Red Army Choir to the Alexandrov Choir because of their conductor, right? And it was Russia's army choir now. And so they were on a plane to perform somewhere, I don't remember, and it basically that plane like fell out of the sky right over Turkey into
Jesus.
the Black Sea.
Holy
And so
shit.
people are saying like, who would want to do that to Russia?
That's probably the
yeah,
Turks.
it makes it a tough issue. Like I was gonna say, there's only been a few countries who've openly taken actually either side though, because I know Russia's actually sold arms to both though. That's the issue there. But they have a base with in Armenia, so they tend to side with Armenia. Like I said, Greece and Cyprus have supported Armenia politically.
And
I
Lebanon.
think Serbia, Lebanon and Serbia too, and
Serbia
France.
has
France too.
France has probably been our greatest Western ally.
Yeah.
Well, I mean by Western as in like a
Yeah.
Western European like powerful country. France has been our greatest ally. They actually made April 24th a national holiday, Armenian Genocide Remembrance Day. I would say right after that are Germany and the Netherlands. The UK, it's a bit tricky because there's a very heavy Turkish lobby there.
Yeah.
Also, they have like their whole thing with like they're kind of responsible for not stopping Turkey invade Cyprus, so they have their whole agreement with Turkey there, the UK,
Yeah.
but no one wants to talk about that. And
Yeah,
it's also
exactly.
Also, here's the other issue with why the U.S. doesn't get involved. A country that kind of I don't know if that was even recent, but for some reason, Israel has come out to support Azerbaijan, so that's gonna stop
And
the
Oh,
U.S.
Israel
you know what?
did?
Yeah, Israel
Yeah.
did, and you know what? Listen,
They
if
sell
they
them
want to do
drones
that,
and shit.
if they want to do that, they can do that, but they have this military drone, right? You know, like newest tech, very effective, very powerful. They sold it to Azerbaijan, and Armenia became the first ever country to shoot one down. So,
Oh, nice.
They can try, but they're not gonna succeed.
yeah, actually,
That
I
was
read
a lot of
military
money.
report. They actually, I read this military report during when the conflict a few weeks ago was very heavy. Apparently the Azeri army drove a truck full of soldiers straight into an Armenian position, thinking that's like an effective strategy.
Jesus.
Bro,
Yeah,
these guys
so-
literally
I'm
trained by
just laughing.
smashing
I'm just
walls in there.
laughing my ass off as the Armenian missile goes up to hit the drone, and you just see like probably millions to billions of dollars in a drone just
Oh,
fucking
it was
Yeah.
go up
millions
in
of
flames.
dollars. It is not cheap.
Like
and
hundreds
so-
of millions just gone.
Oh yeah, those things have insane capabilities nowadays.
We
Like-
shot down that one, like very like state of the art one, but we shot 14 down total.
Jesus.
That's
Because
awesome.
nowadays drones have like every kind of radar detection system you can imagine, several different weapon systems, cameras and surveillance. Like they have everything. They're outfitted like fighter jets now.
Wait, why did Israel back Azerbaijan? Do they have some historical alliance, or was it just
Sort of.
money?
But yeah, it's mostly
then-
because of trade. Yeah, it
It's the
shows
same-
you really
yeah.
what some of these people
It's the
care
same
about,
reason
like,
the
where their
U.S.
interests
allies
are.
with Israel,
That's
because
what I'm
Israel buys
saying.
a ton of defense products from America.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know,
All trade.
I think like, so if you look at like a report of like the battle, right? Essentially, per each side, right? Armenia is saying 5 Armenian soldiers were killed, right? They are saying 12 of their soldiers were killed, right? The Armenian side has video evidence of 21 bodies.
Jesus.
So they lowered their amount, but that's not all that they did. They actually went on their state-sponsored national media and said that they killed 120 Armenian soldiers, destroyed a tank, an APC, 5 UAVs, an EW unit, and several armored vehicles. So when all of these like human rights organizations and like military organizations said, okay, can you release the battle report?
Nope.
Left on
Yeah.
red.
Yeah,
To me,
then
the
they're just
fun-
always like,
Honestly, one of my favorite things is when someone starts a sentence on their state-sponsored national media. I'm always like, whatever is said next is about to be the most batshit
Like-
crazy.
Yeah,
Either that or
Armenia
Fox
has, like, the
News.
state-sponsored media as well, but
Right.
it's not like as in like the state decides what they say. It's just
yeah,
it's
they're
like-
essentially a
I know what you mean.
totalitarian regime. The UN has declared them a totalitarian regime
Jesus
since like the 90s.
Christ.
Yeah, they're
So,
actually
they're up there with-
so in
with
terms
Russia,
of totalitarian
Belarus, like-
regimes and human rights
Yeah.
abuse, right? We have number 1 at North Korea. Number 2 is Azerbaijan.
Wow.
Really, they passed Belarus.
Yeah, isn't that
And
crazy?
Turkmenistan.
So,
Well, yeah.
Kazakhstan's not even.
transitioning from this
Kazakhstan.
specific conflict within this one region, there's actually an alarming rate of growth in conflicts around the world, and it's causing massive population like redistribution. So like as a planet, we're actually facing like a massive refugee crisis. So just in 2018, there were 13 million people displaced. That was mostly Syria, but like it's insane. I think it might start happening between India and China now too.
In
'Cause
Kashmir.
uh, I'm not sure about Kashmir yet. We'll see what Modi does and how Pakistan handles it. I don't think it'll be handled well. So now India is going to have these little regional conflicts both against China and Pakistan, maybe. Those are just things that are still developing, so we'll see.
Wait,
how
what's
they
up
go.
with between China and India? What's going
I
on?
don't know. They're
between
having
the
a couple disputes in the mountains. Like a couple soldiers got shot on.
I think it's over border lines.
Yeah, like
Oh,
a couple Indian
interesting.
soldiers died in the mountains, and I think they shot back and killed a couple Chinese soldiers. I don't actually know the story that well. I gotta read
Okay.
up on that.
Interested to read up on that one as
You know,
well.
like, I think when it comes to refugees, right? As a global community, it should always be people's priority to help people, obviously, help people in need.
Yeah,
What's that bullshit? If you don't have
That-
resources, get the
that
fuck
being
out.
that being said, do not force the countries that can't handle taking care of
Yeah.
everyone to do it first. Like, I think the big example everyone thinks of is Greece. You know, like there was a big refugee issue happening like 2013, 2014, right? And
yeah,
basically, I think a lot of it was from Syria, as you said. The first country they entered was Turkey. Turkey, so what they did actually is they kept, I think 1 million or 2 million refugees. They kept the most refugees out of any country. And so at first you're thinking like, oh, that's good of them, right?
yeah.
Actually, apparently the plan was to keep them, give them Turkish citizenship, and say it was a gift from President Erdogan so that they could vote for him,
Jesus.
and so that he can have another 1 to 2 million.
Yeah, actually, Turkey has taken in a lot of refugees from both Afghanistan and Syria, and then
But
That's
the
just
reason.
not surprising.
Pakistan's taken Afghanistani refugees, and then a lot of
Lebanon's taking a
Venezuelan.
lot of Syrians, right?
Yeah, Lebanon has as well. Germany
Lebanon has a lot of
has
Syrians.
taken a good amount of Syrians.
Yeah, Germany's taken the most in Europe. I think
Yeah,
they
they have.
they've beat out Italy and France and Greece.
Erdogan is just concerned that his own people are eventually going to get sick
So,
of him, so he needs to
Afghanistan-
import voters. He needs to
Afghanistan,
import
Venezuela,
voters.
and Syria. These are the three biggest problem countries right now in terms of like entire like population of those countries is just evacuating. Like they're just like these countries that were around for like thousands of years are now just going to be like deserted. And now all these people need places to go. A lot of them are probably living in camps, and like there's a good percentage of them that are children, and like it's close to half of these refugees are children, and about 100,000 of them are without any sort of parental supervision or guardians.
And you know,
Yeah.
See, everyone, authoritarian socialism totally works.
the
Yeah.
number one thing I will say in terms of Syria, right? They have basically like the situation has projected all of these refugees in the direction of Europe, right?
Yeah,
Now Europe may be able to handle not.
I think
each
they
individual
actually are.
country.
Europe's
As a
pretty
country-
underpopulated for the
As a
for the
continent,
surface
they
area
may be
it
able to
covers.
do it.
yeah,
But what are the big issues, right? When refugees from the Middle East come to Europe, language barrier, cultural
differences,
things like that, right?
and then infrastructure takes
How
a
many
hit too.
how many refugees has Germany taken, France taken, Greece even taken? You compare that. How many refugees has Saudi Arabia taken? the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, these very, very wealthy countries.
Super
Kuwait,
wealthy, yeah.
And they have all
near
this space
nothing.
too.
Near nothing. They have this space.
Yeah,
they are
not
at least
many.
closer culturally and at least have a common language, though sure with dialectical differences, but at least they have similar culture and same language.
Yeah.
But they don't want to deal with it. They'd rather that they send these poor people half a world away to a place that's completely foreign to them, to countries that already have their own issues.
Yeah.
You
It's
know?
Yeah.
And I really don't appreciate it when a lot of like I said these internet activists, they're so quick to say that Europe is anti-refugee, right? I don't think
Sure.
they're
the
anti-refugee.
U.S. is pretty
Yeah,
anti-refugee.
the U.S. is pretty anti.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
that Europe is anti-refugee. It's Europe is anti like their country's failing. That's what
Yeah,
they're against.
exactly.
You know, I think it's much
And I was
more
gonna say-
sustainable if the other Arab countries take these refugees because it's better.
The
but-
thing that's
least
concerning to
increase
me
the quota.
is since like 2010 to 2018, the rate of population displacement has only like accelerated like significantly. Like it's getting worse and worse and worse every single year. And it's hard to find a specific reason because with every different region comes a different set of conflicts and causes. So statistically, it's like, how do you even figure out a way to solve this issue of refugees?
All I'm saying is we're a hemisphere away, so.
Venezuela's
to worry about it.
Venezuela's on our part of the hemisphere.
Yeah, but like,
Actually,
but
wait,
like,
did you call when you were referring to these thousands of year old countries, were you referring to Venezuela as one of those?
Well, no, it's more Syria and Afghanistan. But I mean, technically,
Yeah, he meant
Venezuela,
Syria, yeah, and
Syria and
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan have been around for thousands.
Have
like,
civilization
established,
for
Yeah.
Syria's Mesopotamia
But,
and the Levant.
Venezuela, technically, the land's been there for thousands of years. But
all I'm trying to say is we're on
like
the right half of
Venezuela,
here.
like they're fucked, dude. Like that country, like what's it called? They're just evacuated and like
Bro,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to
they
think
have
about.
this left-wing dictator, right? This socialist dictator.
Yeah.
You'd think the solution
I would
is
call him
is-
politically,
you'd think the
not left.
solution is to have like a democratic-minded, liberal democracy-minded moderate
Yeah.
to
Yep,
come in. No,
libertarian.
let's just install this American puppet that's just as bad in the other
Obviously.
Yeah, we just knock out these communist
How else-
governments and put in like
Why else
military
would the
juntas.
U.S. do it? They want.
No, we should knock them both out, dude. and
No,
just
it's
go
like,
libertarian.
America,
Pro
baby.
blind.
It's not just
Liberal
America. It's actually.
democracies with libertarian values.
It's actually the U.S.,
Yeah.
the U.K., and Canada backing that guy. But why else? Obviously, they're going to do that because they want a little puppet that they can just mine all the natural resources from the country
Canada
for
did it?
themselves. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Canada, the UK, and
But
the US
this
back
guy-
that guy.
This guy, their prime minister, the one that did blackface,
I mean,
Justin Trudeau,
Who
he's
knows?
full of shit.
Who knows the level of
Never
like?
do anything.
We don't know the level of involvement from any of the three, but those are the three countries that kind of back this guy.
You already know Donnie T in the White House was just like, we need to get this definitely way better guy in the Venezuelan presidency.
He sounds.
This other guy is so short. He's giving me small man.
This
vibes.
other guy might as well be a baby. Look at what he did to his country. He must be a baby.
Listen, I don't like Trump at all, right? But you have to see the comedic value.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
what
of
I
course.
say too. He's funny.
He's a horrible president. He's fucking over millions of
Yeah,
people.
he's a horrible
and I
president.
hope to God he doesn't get elected again. And I encourage everyone, as many people as possible, to go vote.
Not only has he not drained the swamp, but he also
Or
has
Kanye.
failed to get
Yeah.
rid of Obamacare, otherwise known as
Exactly.
the Affordable Care Act.
There's a many reasons why I would argue Donald Trump should not be our president again, or at all.
The only
But
problem I have
That
with the
Twitter
statement,
feed
though,
is hilarious.
the only problem I have with the statement, though, is that both candidates are supremely unqualified for the
Oh my
job.
God,
So
it's
it's
you're
like
it's like choosing between
like
like
stepping
shooting
on
yourself or
eggshells.
stabbing yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
facts.
it's
like-
really tough. But I do agree, Biden's
I
probably
saw
better for the
this
job,
thing-
but only because Kamala Harris is VP, in my opinion, because she's younger than the rest of them, so she
Well-
can probably handle the job better.
The
Here's
ripe
thing
age
about
of
Kamala.
56.
Right?
thing
Isn't
about
it sad that
Kamala
that's what politics is? The fucking ripe
Yeah.
age of mid-50s.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about Kamala Harris, in my opinion. In terms of the like kind of the precedent it sets, that a self-made young woman woman of color can really build themselves up to a position of importance in their community, and eventually get a position of leadership on a federal level. It shows a lot of people like, hey, I can do this too.
That is
it's
true.
it's a step in
I do
it's a
like
step
that
in the right
about it.
direction in terms of inclusivity and acceptance. That being said, she is almost entirely responsible for locking up dozens of people on bullshit charges.
Yeah,
And
you're
giving
right.
them
Well, as a
maximum
prosecutor,
Well, I think-
she did that a lot of the time. But the thing I have is with state prosecutors in general, they care more about winning the case
Than
than
they
actually
do
putting
about
guilty
yeah.
people
Yeah.
behind
Because
bars.
that's how, when you're employed by the bureaucracy, that's how you advance. You're like, oh, I closed this many cases,
Yeah, she actually
Oh,
withheld
this guy-
DNA evidence from people who were serving almost lifelong sentences behind bars. So she would deny them DNA evidence through
That's
California law.
insane.
Yeah. So she isn't like this amazing
Well, I
person, but
think
like she's better. She's more equipped. to
The
do the job
optics
than-
of Kamala Harris look nice, right? Like, she wasn't born into a political family, but like
Exactly.
she became a lawyer and worked hard, and now she's in this position of power. But she doesn't symbolize positive change for our country, and I'm not
No,
sure
it's
people
incremental.
realize
Agree.
it. Like, she is just the same as most of these politicians we have. Feed the machine,
Exactly.
and the machine pays you back for it. Like,
It's true.
I saw this thing.
there's no
this thing on
addressing
Twitter,
real
actually.
national problems.
Andrew Yang.
Andrew, Yang Gang.
Yeah, gang.
But yeah, I saw this thing on Twitter actually. I don't remember exactly how it went, but it was pretty funny. It was basically like, American people advocate for change, right?
Yeah.
Trump Pence would just say no, right?
Yeah.
Biden Harris would say no, but we understand.
Yeah, exactly. It's
With
retarded.
like,
and like,
with like a heart emoji and shit. Like,
it makes no
that's like
sense.
basically that is exactly the situation our country is facing. And yeah, that.
Essentially.
Yeah,
essentially.
no.
And then when people like Kasich or Andrew Yang come along and point out a real issue, they don't get past like the first round of votes.
Yeah, because it's like a
Yeah, we
celebrity game now.
Yeah.
It's like
We have
whoever
a
has the
tough,
most like prominence. All right, yeah, I was gonna say we wanna if you wanted to add one more thought, Jake, or do you want to move to the next topic?
I was just gonna say that it's like tough because our political system's set up in a way that it's very easy for politicians who are in bed with the special interests of Washington to get elected. It's
Yeah.
very difficult for an
Well, they're all the
outsider
same
who
people,
stands by their convictions. Yeah, because the thing is, if you were to essentially win an instrument or implement real change, you'd have to run on a set of lies because there's no way
Oh yeah.
that the establishment would back you unless you supported their
And you
issues
can't get
up
in
until
without the
the point.
establishment's backing.
That's what I'm trying to say. So if you actually stand against them, then you're only standing to lose, really.
Yeah.
Like kind of like what happened to Bernie. Bernie had a really good chance of winning, but he found himself as an outsider in both elections, in my opinion. And he never got, like, the media always mocked him. They did the same with Tulsi and Yang. Because if you're seen as an outsider, they cast you aside.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I think the thing with Bernie is, I think, I'm actually not sure in this upcoming election what exactly happened, but I think in 2016 there was some shady shit
Voter
that went down with
fraud.
the Democratic
Agreed.
Party.
Oh yeah.
Like 100%.
Yeah, no, it was fucking rigged.
Yeah.
Fucking
I don't
Debbie
think the
Wasserman
media
Schultz, that son of a bitch. That's why Tulsi stepped
Especially in
down from the
2016,
DNC.
though. Especially in 2016, I don't think the media coverage was fair to Bernie at all. You could tell
It was
they were
so
trying to
unfair.
put him
And
as like a
the
fringe
media-
candidate.
Clinton
Yeah.
also
Media
didn't
is, like,
campaign in like half the
basically-
states.
Your
Yeah.
mic.
The media played themselves in 2016. Like,
Facts.
entire year and a half, 2 years of like, oh, this report says Trump is gonna get smoked by.
Oh, there was this
report
uh
says-
Yeah, no one believes that
HBO
shit.
HBO
I
has this
still don't-
great
Or no one
Holy
should
cow.
believe that shit. You want to know why I don't trust polls? Hang on. Just want to quote Bill Burr on this real quick. So this is why polls are fucking stupid. Because polls, literally, when you think about it, it's some guy going around on a clipboard knocking on people's doors, being like, hey, who are you voting for? They're going to be like, none of your fucking business. And just the door shut.
Dude, Joe Rogan has a great bit on it. Joe Rogan has the best bit. He's like, all right, so if you poll the population and people actually respond to it, and it's like, how old is the Earth? The number one answer is older than your mom's pussy. The number two answer is fuck you. After that, they just start throwing around numbers.
Like 6,000 years old, because this is that Book of Genesis.
Exactly.
What are you gonna say?
I remember having a conversation with you, Abhi, about this. Is like people just love throwing around statistics that they just completely have no like.
I think that's what polls are in their entirety. Because how the fuck can you accurately poll a population? I don't think it's impossible.
What I'm
that
saying
map
is
we
that,
saw
like,
of the penis size around the world.
It's
Like
not
everyone's just gonna say it's longer. Everyone's just gonna say it's longer than the next person.
Go to like a village in the middle of the jungle.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, you said 5, I say 6.5.
One thing they never talk about when they present stats like this, 60% of these people do this. It's like they never tell you what the sample size is. They never tell you where that sample came from. Those are two things you need to know to understand any sort of survey.
I will not believe a poll unless it says sample size in the title. If it says 66% of voters out of 1,000 polled,
it could be like,
believe
that's not even close.
Okay.
No, the problem with polls is that it'd be 66 out of the 1,000 that even fucking answered in the first place.
And out of the 1,000 that answered, there's probably like 600 that were genuine answers. Another 400 were probably fucking jokes, like "Long live Harambe."
These nuts.
Bro, that's who I'm voting for 2020.
Yeah.
I'm voting for Vermin Supreme and his VP.
Hey, New Hampshire represent.
You know what? I'm actually looking for a man with, vision, someone who can really like look into the future. And
Herman Cain.
No, I was gonna say Stevie Wonder actually. No, I'm not gonna.
Yo, don't do my guy. Dirty.
No, I was listening to Stevie Wonder actually. Earlier. That's why it was on my mind. But I think, like, my perspective as someone that came to this country, we're all fucked. Like, no matter what. Like, it's the same fucked. Like, this is what a lot of Americans don't understand. A lot of conservative voters.
I meant to send that earlier, actually.
Georgia, I 100% agree with you, though.
Yeah.
The fact is, we're fucked. It's two different parties, but it's the same result in the end. It's not like
it's the same fucked. Like, conservative voters, right? In January, I was in.
Like both parties are fundamentally flawed, and like the thing I think needs to happen is there should be a ticket that has a moderate Democrat and a moderate Republican run together.
Yeah.
I feel like if you could get like a Yang Kasich or like a Tulsi McRaven's just like a admiral who helped.
What needs to happen is like
Bin Laden.
Gates, Buffett, and Bezos need to get together and create a libertarian lobby.
And Musk should run.
And just funnel.
Dude, no, Musk can't run.
Funnel billions of dollars into it.
Oh, you're right. Can he be VP or still no?
I don't know if he can be a VP. He can't be president. Which
he
sucks.
can't be president. Yeah.
Wait, then how is Ted Cruz running? He's born in fucking Canada.
But his parents were American, so he can.
So it works.
So it
It's like,
counts.
I could technically
That's
run
not
for
right.
president, even though I was born in Lebanon. I was born an American citizen. So.
Yeah, if you have a parent that's an American and you're born in another country, you're still American.
If you're white,
it's
okay. If you're white, it's
American.
okay to be an
We're
anchor
British,
baby.
born in New York.
Yeah.
All
It's
right.
a weird. The laws are weird around it.
All right, wait. So Jake, do you wanna hit the last topic, or do you want to save?
I think we should honestly save that. For
I think we
next
should
time.
transition
down
I
the
think
road.
it's,
Transition to stock pick.
I think we
it's
should
time
wrap
for
it up.
stock picks.
All right, so I have two stocks this week. I can't go with one because there are two stocks that are doing the same thing. So right now, since this is going to get published on Tuesday, viewers should really go and buy as many Tesla and Apple shares as they can possibly get their hands on because there's an upcoming stock split think Apple's trading at around 500. I don't know what their dividend is, and Tesla is at 2,000. And I can check dividends after. But these two stocks, so the Tesla stock is doing a 5-1 split. So for every one stock, you get 5 shares back. So really, it's just an additional 4 shares on top of your 1 share. It's not like it's increasing your value intrinsically. It's just giving you more value or more shares that are probably going to increase in value over time. Same with Apple, but Apple's doing a 4-1 split. So you have 1 stock and you get 4 back. So it's an additional 3 stock, and it cuts the price by a fourth. You know what I mean? It cut the price down to where the 4th stock would be. And it's a really good idea to get into these 2 stocks, especially this week before they split at the end of August. I would recommend it to any investor out there. I think that they're both major tech companies in the U.S. And Tesla specifically, if you can buy a Tesla share or many Tesla shares, you're going to see your net worth definitely see a substantial increase if you hold on to those stocks long term.
So how we all doing with stocks, boys?
Doing well. Up about
pretty good.
2,000.
I'm settled into my portfolio. I think one thing I might do is sell my shares of Raytheon and just buy a fraction of Tesla.
Not a bad idea.
So, I remember I brought this up with you, Avi, before, but I was actually gonna tell you, Jake. I got my first Alibabas.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
So
good stock.
Love that stock. I like cashed out on airlines like a few weeks ago. Right before like Corona cases went up again and they all went back down, so that was good. And
nice.
Yeah, I used the money to get Alibaba, and like I'm, God willing, that'll
Yeah, I made a good bit
on.
of coin on Alibaba. I made like $850 on Alibaba or something like that. It's just pretty good. But I mean, like, really, fundamentally, it's not that much for the amount I had in the stock. So.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I am considering maybe selling Raytheon and Alibaba, what shares I have of both, and then maybe getting. I think that would get me altogether like a little over half a Tesla stock.
You could put an option on a Tesla stock. Have you upgraded your account to options trading?
No, can you do that? Does that cost
I don't know
something?
about on Robinhood, but on Webull, I just applied for an options account. So what an option is you can make a put or a call. A put, so there's a strike price, and the strike price is what the stock is trading at or what you want to pick the stock up at.
Yeah.
And a put means that you're betting against the stock. You're saying that by the expiration date of the option, the stock will be lower than the strike price you purchased it at. And then a call is that you're betting that the stock will be higher than the strike price you purchased at expiration. So, and you can do that with a lot less money than you have to buy an actual share of the stock.
That's cool.
So you're not buying the underlying security, you're buying an option on the security.
I might need to get a Webull account, honestly.
Yeah. It's pretty cool because you can turn $100 into like 500 with options instead of like doing a traditional trading.
Yeah. I'm hoping Robinhood adds options soon. Robinhood, they really need to add options.
I think they were mentioning
like,
they would.
Yeah.
They were mentioning they would, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, that's it for my stocks. Avi, did you have a stock?
I
mean,
guess I can. I might shout back out to an old stock, Discover Financial, one of my biggest winners. Discover's doing really well. It's probably made me the most amount of money out of all my stocks so far. I mean, if you bought in back like when I originally said it, I think it was episode 2 or episode 1 that I shouted out Discover. It's only gone up, so, and I think it's only going to keep going up because for a credit-based company, they're very smart with leveraging their cash. So.
Yep. Absolutely.
Definitely something to get in on because I think Discover is only going to gain market share.
I really think if people are investing this week, like I said, you should look into Apple's probably the stock I would recommend the most because it doesn't take as much capital to get into, but it's a 4-1 split. So you have one stock of it, you get 4. And it's Apple, so it's going to grow over time. It's not like a bad decision. If you really have money to throw at the market, go with Tesla. I just really think this is the week, if you're trading at all, you should be buying Apple and Tesla. It's really the only thing I'd consider this week.
Yeah.
It's a crazy week for splits.
All right, so do you guys want to move on to lesson of the week? Everyone
Sure.
share a lesson.
Course.
Who wants to start? Who's got one on their mind?
Not
A
this
lesson?
guy. Yeah,
All
lesson
right.
of the week.
Yeah, just
All
something
right,
you've learned this week.
Something I learned this week.
Yeah, just a quick lesson.
So someone actually, you know her, Alex. She claims that due to my Armenian heritage, I am in fact not white. My sunburn from fishing, I would say, proves otherwise. Because I am like a lobster right now.
Hey, welcome to the club.
Yeah.
What is this
what do you mean,
lesson?
welcome to the
I don't-
No.
I'm confused
So,
about the lesson.
I'm getting to that. I'm getting to that. Hear me out, right? Before you jump to conclusions. My lesson is, because we, not just this example I gave, because we all know that's bullshit, but other things we were talking about as well, right? The internet is not your friend. You're gonna see a lot of bullshit on there, a lot of people who, you know, they claim they're about this issue and that interest and whatever, when they're really not. So I would say my lesson is always trust conventional means of getting things done and finding things out over the internet
I like
and
that.
social media.
That's a good one.
I was gonna say for mine actually, I have one that it's not something I just learned this week. It's just something I've known for a while, and it's because it's happened to me a while ago, and I see it happen to other people, and it has to do with that. Be careful what you upload on the internet, and know what you're talking about and know what you're uploading, because I've seen so many people. This kind of would have gone well in our cancel culture episode, but I've seen a lot of people. I've seen a lot of
Oh, yeah,
people
that's
put
true.
shit on there that's just been like really stupid or just really uninformed, and it's caused a lot of, or just like really like no one wants to see that, like graphic. So, and it's caused a lot of repercussions to their life or just to other people's lives. So for everyone out there who's so willing to be so-called influencer on social media, you got to be careful, because when that doesn't work out and you need a real job, you want to be able to get hired. So
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I have a lesson. So mine actually pertains to journalism. I actually want to say to be skeptical about journalism, but it's not like this, because I feel like when people say fake news, it's like a conservative talking point.
Right.
And it's funny because it happens on their side too. But like when a journalist publishes something on social media, look at where the underlying research came from, because it's very easy for someone to just slap something on their feed that someone made a graphic that has no backing to it, or
Also-
something that is not covered like by a mainstream outlet, like something that's pretty centrist and is just trying to inform the public. It's very hard for me to like trust sources unless you can find out where the research was done.
Just to add on to that, it's so easy to verify whether news is real or not. You literally just search it on multiple websites, and that's like, you can read one full article in one place you think is trustworthy, search that same exact issue, find it on two different websites, and if most of the facts line up, you don't even have to read the full article on the next two. It's just look for key points. If they add up, it's probably
Right.
true.
Because,
Like,
Yeah.
you know, the sad reality about modern day
It's not
is,
hard.
like, it's not news anymore. It's not news. It's like informative sounding opinions.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem I have with like a lot of, especially the stuff that goes on social media, is a lot of it's like ideology based. It's not informed
Oh, yeah.
investigative journalism
Yeah.
based, which is why it's like a problem.
60 Minutes, Vice, and Axios. 3 great investigative journalism.
or also The Guardian for UK.
The Guardian
Yeah,
is
some
good.
interesting-
The Guardian is good. I heard
Bloomberg.
in Europe.
Bloomberg, BBC.
Bloomberg is more
Pounded is
business,
pretty
though,
good.
not investigative
I
journalism.
like Blue.
Yeah,
And
Bloomberg's
the New York
amazing.
Times. New York Times is good for investigative journalism.
And then I guess my lesson of the week would be stay persistent. So I had to call Verizon today because I want to set up FiOS in the apartment I'm moving into. And when you set up an installation for FiOS, they give you like a set of dates that are available. And we didn't have a date available for like 2 to 3 weeks after we moved in. So I was like, that is not going to work. So I had to call Verizon and wait on the phone 3 different times. It ended up taking about 4 hours until I finally got with the representative that was able to move my data up to the date of our move-in. But it's just being persistent, right? Like, you kind of hear the things one operator mentions, you think, okay, on the next one, how can I build on that and get them to get me where I want to go? So it's just kind of, and then also you got to navigate through this whole robotic system. So I also had fun figuring out what's the fastest way I can get to the operator without giving that, like,
You're
without
like, give
staying
me a
in this
human
for like 20 minutes.
Dude, that's
Yeah.
literally when I answer at the state house, people are like always like they just like because it's like I'm the first person usually to pick up when they call the building that isn't like press 1 for like this office, press 2 for this. So like they literally just like rant. I had this like, crazy ass dude who was calling me like the past few weeks. He seriously had a problem, and he kept trying to look for me and my manager, and I was like, dude, what do you want? He wouldn't give me a straight answer. I gave him the governor's and like the citizens information's office. I was like, dude, we can't help you here anymore. This is just public information. You have a problem. And he's just no, I can't stand those automated voices. Like I can't do this on the internet.
He's like, son, I don't know what I'm doing. Help me.
My mind. And my boss was freaking out too. I was just like, dude, never call us back ever. That's literally what I said.
Some prime customer service at the state house.
I expected him already. I was like,
leave us the fuck alone.
Bro, I said that because I was like, yo, I'm giving you the governor's number, like the governor's office's number. There's somebody always in there to pick up. If they can't help you out, do not call us back. Like, we'll block you. But yeah.
All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for tonight, boys.
It was episode 9.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, like, I think actually, this was a good opportunity to talk about a lot of stuff because I think we handled a lot of misconceptions today. You know,
yeah, that's
a
really
lot of shit people don't know about.
That's what we're trying to do with this podcast at the end of the day, right?
Just trying to be real.
Call bullshit where it is, really.
Yeah, for sure. All right, that was Straight No Chaser, episode 9. Thanks everyone for
make sure to subscribe on YouTube and follow on Instagram, straightnochaser.dant.
Also, leave a like on the video, click that thumbs up,
or a comment if you're not going to be a dick.
And follow on Instagram.
Send pics.
Yeah, all kinds of pics.
What? Huh?
All right.
See you guys.
Peace.